Dear Prime Minister, last night while watching Bazigar for the fourth time, I had this flash of insight, a wave of realization, a goddamn vision. You aren't a horrible person, you just surround yourself with horrible people.
मुझे माफ कर देना.
It's like in Bazigar, where Seema doesn't really deserve what happens to her, but because she has no one to tell her otherwise, she gets pushed off a terrace on her pretend honeymoon with her pretend husband who's cheating on her with her own sister. If it isn't clear, that's a metaphor. Your Seema and the goons you surround yourself with are your Ajays. I'm not sure whether your post as Prime Minister is the terrace or the honeymoon, but the point is, beware of your party. To help, I've decided to speak to you directly. Let me make it clear at the outset, before your little goons get their panties in a bunch, that I'm a law-abiding citizen and not an anti-national terrorist who wants India to lose the World Cup. Though I suppose I do sympathize with them, like I sympathize with Atankawadi Sadhvi, because they are human all said and done. I'm not using the advertised channels of communication because I don't want those Desh-Dohi creeps who own your party and make you do all those fucked up things intercepting this. I know you want to listen to the young people of India because you yourself are young at heart. Love the new jackets, by the way. So first, I want to talk to you about the chaiwala thing that they're making you do every election. It's getting a bit old. People are starting to realize that it's just a cheap gimmick. The whole Assam thing was way over the top. Did they really expect you to form a connection with a plantation labourer on the basis of tea? I mean, come on. You were a chaiwala once, big fucking deal. Get over it, stop joking with the labourers. They don't serve chai, they grow and pick and process it for less than 100 rupees a day. The workers are bullied by the plantation managers. They have to work with hazardous chemicals without any protective gear, and the workers that do have food and water need to watch out for pesticides. One newspaper report even said that the overflowing latrines had created a network of cesspools throughout the labour lines, the living areas of employees and their families. And you know that when a newspaper report sounds like an American dystopian novel, things are not good. So, do you really have to wonder why Tinsukya is so dukya? Labourers don't wear smiles because they're being royally penetrated in holes they didn't even know they had. Imagine if every man that took a fancy to you could drill a hole in you and then rape that hole. That would be pretty terrible, wouldn't it? Now that's how their lives are and the lives of millions of other people in India. So no wonder they're feeling a little down about that. Instead of telling stupid jokes, you should go after all these international tea brands that our progressive chachas and dharnas seem to enjoy. They come from gross exploitation and even child labour. I mean, come on. I know we love to make our children do all the work, and I agree that the best way of dealing with those little shits is to keep them busy. But do we really need to go Taj every time we drink their blood? It's gotten so bad that the BBC had to conduct an investigation to tell Britishers how horrible the working conditions here were. That can't sit well with you, Mr. Prime Minister, can it? On your next visit abroad, you should refuse to drink English tea as a sign of protest. Maybe even throw a Mari biscuit at whichever head of state is sitting opposite you. I say that all the patriots of India should stand with their balls/boobs up high and refuse to drink tea that comes from Tetley, Lipton, Twinings and PG Tips at any of their events. Refuse it. Say a strict no, like you say no to beef. So in other news, the Kolkata bridge collapsed and one asshole called it an act of God. I really think that after you come back to India, you should call him and give him a good scolding. A bridge collapsing due to shitty construction work is as much an act of God as Salman Khan going scot-free after running over a bunch of people is. Or when Maradona punched that ball. They aren't acts of God, there are no acts of God. God doesn't care. Salman Khan is famous and rich and Maradona is an asshole who took advantage of the game. Really, Mr. Prime Minister, you're a smart guy. Get on top of all of this shit. Make the construction company accountable and don't just let them attribute everything to Ram Lalla. Sure, he might have built that stupid bridge to Sri Lanka, but he's long gone. And even if he were around, he'd just be in the throes of romantic what is my true dharma despair. I mean, he never did get over that whole Sita picked an eternity encased in earth over me thing, did he? Though he totally deserved it. Maryada Purush my ass. While you're taking corrupt Kamchars to task, you could maybe ask Jaitley to stop prostituting India. We very much like our land and our resources and we don't need all kinds of foreign companies coming in and fucking with everybody. You could also ask him to look less like a cow. Unless it's his latest preservation tactic. But, I'm sure he hides things from you too. He looks like a shifty bastard. Penultimately, the Deonar dumping ground is still on fire. I wish you could use your superpowers and just make it all go away. It's killing a lot of people here. Your Maharashtra goons are fighting about who gets to make the most money out of it, and it's pretty disgusting. Please do something about it before Govandi turns toxic and all the people there become bloodthirsty zombies. Given that they're mostly Dalits and other unmentionable minorities, they might even come after your blood. And I wouldn't like that at all. I think we're forming a real connection here. Lastly, just let that Bharat Mata thing go. It might have seemed like good advertising to some wife beating homophobe during the colonial Raj, but it certainly isn't a good line for our country to take now. We're better than that. We don't need some archaic images of domesticated womanhood to represent our country. We have all the phallic power we need. From the Shivlinga, to missiles that look like the Shivlinga, to Rajnath Singh, who also looks like the Shivlinga. Your overactive Marathis threw out an elected MLA from the assembly for not saying Bharat Mata ki jai, which I'm sure you think is extremely foolish. I know you want to do something about it. I know you want to tell everybody to get over the little rape fantasies of Bharat Mata, but you can't because of political pressure. So let this be the voice of an Indian citizen asking you to take the right step. Don't be afraid of these fair weather politicians. The citizens of India stand behind you. Get rid of this countrywide Oedipus complex. Only you have the chest power to do so. Well, that's it for now. I'll write to you again next week. Till then, if you've made it back from those foreign visits where you secretly eat teplas, you could start working on the problems mentioned. Yours faithfully,
रोज है खाना भारत माता की तुम जय बोलो जय भारत माता की जय भारत माता की तुम जय बोलो जय भारत माता की जय सोने की चिड़िया डेंगू मलेरिया खुर भी है गोबर भी भारत माता की जय